Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all. Myself, Vaibhav. I welcome all of you to today's session of Visual JForex, in which we will be starting afresh with a new indicator. We will be using the indicator named Waddah Uttar Trend, Waddah 80, which it has been shortened on the Visual JForex to help us identify it easily. So let us now head to the Visual JForex board, and you will find this indicator listed amongst the trend indicator. This indicator gives you the idea of trend, whether it is bullish or bearish, and accordingly, we can take the trade positioning. If we want to go for the long trade, I would prefer the momentum to be on the bullish side, and if we are looking for the sell trade, then momentum preferably should be bearish. So we will be using this indicator to design and develop an algorithm which will help us in looking for optimum trading opportunities based on the momentum and the price volatility. So these are the three input values which we need to define to get the desired output values, using which we can define certain requirements, certain conditions to help us figure out the trade entries. We will be working with the Euro USD as the instrument of choice. Candle period we will define as per the requirement, and I will first explain to you the logic, and after that we will do the job of defining these input parameters. This is the look back period. Okay, so first let me give you the idea of what the logic is when we will be looking for initiating the buy or the sell trade. So we will be using multiple time frames. The entry points will be determined after considering the price action on the lower time frame of 15 minutes, but along with that, we will also consider what the trend is on the larger time frame of 4 hours. So for that, we will consider the formation on the 4 hours and the output values of the Waddah 80 on this time frame. We will look to initiate the buy trade when we have these output values, the value above 0, and we will look to initiate the sell trade when the values, here you get these two output parameters for this indicator, and one output is itself named as values, and that value we will be considering. So for sell trade, we need it to be below 0. It should be negative, and for the buy trade, it should be positive. So that is the only requirement, and that kind of helps us in determining the trend, whether it is bullish or bearish. So we are not looking at the magnitude of the output value. We are simply considering whether it is above or below 0. And that's the only thing which we want to confirm on the larger time frame of 4 hours. And then to pinpoint the exact entry, we will actually consider the magnitude of the output value also. And here we want to look to initiate the buy trade when there is substantial momentum on the upside, and we will look to initiate the sell trade if we see there is substantial momentum on the downside. So for that, just from the observation, I arrived at a value of 25, and that looks good to me. But of course, if you want to go with a different option, suppose if you want your algorithm to initiate the trade when the output value is say above 50 or below minus 50, you can define it that way also. So for representative purpose, I will be taking the output value of 25 as a critical marker. And if the output value is above 25, we will look to initiate the buy trade. And if it is below minus 25, then we will look to initiate the sell trade. And we want to be trading when the momentum has changed initially, and not after there has been substantial runaway move already in the underlying instrument. So to avoid that, we will only consider first three output values after the trend change, after the momentum changes from bearish to bullish or from bullish to bearish in either direction. So for that, we will consider the cluster of four output values of the Waddah 80, one of last 15-minute candle, and then we will go back 1 hour in time, and at that point in time, whatever is the Waddah 80 value, we will also take into consideration. So for the buy trade, we will need the last 15-minute output value of Waddah 80 to be above 25, and then we consider the output value for candle period of 15 minutes each earlier, and that means if this is 14:45 GMT, then we will have to look at 13:45 GMT's output value, and there the output value was 5.6, so we will not look to initiate the trade. Only if we see there is substantial move and along with that there is clear cut momentum change from one side to another, we will look to initiate the trade. And for the sale, similar requirement is going to be there. So for sale trade, if we see the Waddah 80 value dipping below -25, then we go back 1 hour in time and we consider the output value which was prevalent 1 hour back. So if that value is above zero, then only we will consider the sale trade. And here also we don't really have that criteria being fulfilled, so we will not take the trade. Okay, so now we head back to the Visual JForex board. I hope you have been able to understand the logic of this formation. For defining the conditions, we have to start with the logical components, and for that, the three if blocks will be needed at first. On tick will be our start point for this session. First, I will get the instrument subscription done. Default variable, default instrument should match with the on tick candle instrument. And then that instrument, the tick instrument, should match the instrument of our choice, which is the Euro USD. So we have to look for Euro USD among this long list of all the instruments available for trading on the Visual JForex platform. It happens many a time that I kind of miss out on where exactly Euro USD listed, and I had to do a couple of rounds. Still no sight of Euro USD. Let us do it one more time. Okay, here it is. After that, we also want the position amount to be defined at 0. And for this, I will change the candle period to 4 hourly. Look back period of 1. Default instrument remains as it is. Then we need 2 more Waddah 80 blocks. So for that we have to add these 2 more of 15-minute time frame. I will change the candle period to 15 minutes here. Look back period of 1. All right. And we also have to consider the price volatility. Oh, here, this should be 2. The look back period of 4, not 2, as we are considering the time interval of 1 hour. Okay. And to look at the price volatility, we take into consideration the info candle or get historical candle. This will be defined for 15 minutes. We will consider the closing and the opening levels. We will compare it, and there should be appropriate move. If we are looking to initiate the buy trade, then we will need the closing value to be higher than the opening price. For initiating the sell trade, the requirement would be that the closing value is less than the opening value, and to exactly pinpoint the opening entry level for the trade, we will consider the 10-second candles of look back period 1 and 2 respectively, and we will compare the closing values of these two candles with the closing value of candle 18. Okay, here I will change the look back period to 1, and in this case it will be changed to 2. Okay, so we have these blocks in place to help us determine the conditions which we think are going to be helpful for profitable trading opportunities. And with these blocks in place, we will stop for the day, and once we come back, we will define the conditions for the execution of the buy as well as for the sale trade. So thank you all for joining in. For further coverage on the market developments, do check out the Dukascopy Analytics page. We are also available on the Facebook. You can join in for the in-depth discussion there. And for carrying out the testing on the historical data, you will need the help of JForex platform. So all these links have been provided in the bio. See you next time around. Till then, goodbye.